Hebrews, Hebrews, Hebrews. This is Israel Wake Up. This is our Women's Advanced Bible Study night, Thursday night, 22nd of May, 2025. Okay, I'll be reading out of First Ezra, chapter 5. Okay, we're going to look at how the Israelites were regathered after they left Babylon, and give us an account of how things are going to transpire with us. Okay, you can go to our YouTube channel to Israel Wake Up and check out our videos. We have over 100 or so videos that we've done. You can listen to those videos, take the meat out, and these videos will lead you to the truth of the Holy Scriptures. Okay. Like I said, we're here every Thursday night for our Women's Advanced Bible Study. If you want to check it out. Okay. This channel is a non-Messianic channel. We deal with the Tanakh and the Torah. We don't subscribe to the New Testament, to JC, to the apostles, to the church fathers. We don't subscribe to that. Okay. This channel was created to aid and assist Hebrews who are waking up in these final hours of waking up to their true identity. Shalom and welcome to this channel, and welcome to our Women's Advanced Bible Study. Okay, we're going to do our normal, which is a moment of silence, prayer, psalms. We have our women's health moment. Then we'll deal with some current events and some need to know information. We'll open it up for some Q&A and dialogue. And then we'll go into our topic for discussion. We'll be dealing with what's going on with the coup that's in Ivory Coast. We'll break that down and look at the updates on it. Okay. And then we'll be reading out of chapter 5 of First Ezra. Then we'll pick a scripture and we'll break it down, and then we'll close out. Okay, this moment of silence is for the Lord of hosts, and all that he's doing to bring about our prophesied deliverance in these last days. Oh Lord, we come before thee at this time. We are thankful for the knowledge and the understanding that you have given unto us up until this point. And we seek thy face, that you shower us with peace and enlightenment and a sense of togetherness. Oh Lord, we see thy hand in the affairs of the world, and we know and understand that what you have spoken in the past will surely come to pass. Turn not thy face from us, but hearken unto this plea. Hearken, O Lord, and do. All praises to you. Okay, we're going to read the Psalms. Okay. Let me get it. I'm going to read Psalms 26. It says, examine me, O Lord, and prove me. It's a Psalm of David. It says, judge me, O Lord, for I have walked in mine integrity. I have trusted also in the Lord. Therefore, I shall not slide. Examine me, O Lord, and prove me. Try my reins and my heart. For thy loving kindness is before mine eyes, and I have walked in thy truth. I have not sat with vain persons, neither will I go in with disassemblers. I have hated the congregation of the elders, the evildoers, and I will not sit with the wicked. I will wash my hands in innocency. So will I compass thine altar, O Lord, that I may publish with thy voice of thanksgiving and tell of all thy wondrous works. Lord, I have loved the habitation of thy house and the place where thy honor dwelleth. Gather not my soul with sinners, nor my bloody, nor my life with bloody men, in whose hands is mischief, and their right hand is full of bribes. But as for me, I will walk in my integrity. Redeem me and be merciful unto me. My foot standeth in an even place. In the congregation will I bless the Lord. Okay, anybody have any comments on that? Psalms 26. So a couple things stand out to me, right? It says, notice it says a couple, two or three times in this Psalms, David is talking, and he's talking about the congregation. And I explained that. That's when they all Israel, all 12 tribes, everybody come together for these feast days. And I was showing you how that the Lord is there when they come on those feast days. He's there. And so example to that is verse 7. David says, uh, 6, I will wash my hands in innocency. So that's when before they go into the temple, they got to wash themselves, right? Then it says, so will I compass thine altar, right? Then 7, that I may publish with my voice the thanksgiving and tell of all thy wondrous works. Lord, I have loved thy habitation. Yeah, Lord, I have loved the habitation of thy house. So the temple is his habitation. That's where he at. He in the temple. Okay. And the place where thine honor dwelleth. Then here you go, right here. This was I just saw this. He says, gather not my soul. So if you go back to the videos we watch, well, especially the book that I wrote, the Elohim of Israel, it tells you to carry the roles that certain angels, these angels have. And one of the roles of Michael or Lord of Hosts is he assists when the person passes, the body dies, and then the soul leaves the body. They there to guide the soul back to heaven, if it came from heaven. So guide that soul back to heaven. So David says right here, gather not, he's talking to the Lord of Hosts, gather not my soul with sinners, nor my life with bloody men. Yeah. And then he says in verse 12, my foot standeth in an even place. Then he says back to the congregation, in the congregation will I bless the Lord. So, okay. Any comments on that? Okay. Keep going. We got our women's health moment. We're going to deal with that.
Shalom, everyone. Please know that the information that is shared is intended for general, informational, and educational purposes only and is not medical advice or recommended treatment. Tonight's discussion is on convenience versus health. Convenience food or processed food is commercially prepared food created as an easy way to get and consume. Most convenient foods have little to no nutritional value and excessive amounts of sodium, sugar, and saturated fats. Processed foods are also loaded with preservatives, such as MSG, unnatural coloring, added flavoring, and other chemicals. If consumed regularly over time, such foods can quickly begin to harm a person's health, which can contribute to serious health issues. For example, obesity, diabetes, heart disease, cancer, and stroke. The craving for processed food is more contributed to by its added flavors and textures than the food itself. Convenient foods are developed with excessive amounts of salt and fat to give you a sensory overload to get you hooked, thus addicted to the need for its satisfying taste. However, since the taste for this type of added and unhealthy sodium is a learned habit, and if you want to quit, you can. It can take a few weeks to months to detox your taste buds, but it is better to make a gradual reduction in salt intake from processed foods. This way, your taste buds can relearn the taste of foods in their natural form at a more effective, slower pace. The body's ability to digest these foods can be difficult as convenient food becomes modified when processed. Processed foods typically lack micronutrients, which are required in trace amounts for the normal growth and development of living organisms like our bodies. Micronutrients, more commonly known as vitamins and minerals, play an important role in your health by keeping your internal system functioning properly. They include such vitamins and minerals as vitamin A, C, D, E, K, and B. and minerals including iodine, sodium, zinc, and copper. Here are some popular convenient processed foods: packaged chips, canned vegetables, commercialized fruit juice, frozen meals, prepackaged foods. Now, here are a few healthy ways to replace some of those popular convenient foods. Instead of packaged chips like potato chips, make your chips or fries from whole organic russet potatoes or sweet potatoes at home. Buy fresh seasonal produce instead of canned. Use a juicer or squeeze your own fruit or vegetable juices. The bottom line is to choose convenient foods in moderations and consume ample portions of whole grains, fruits, vegetables, and other whole unprocessed foods. Tonight I will be reading from the Wisdom of Sirach, chapter 30, verses 23 through 25. Verse 23: Be kind to yourself and comfort your heart, and put sorrow far from you. For sorrow has destroyed many, and there is no profit in it. Envy and anger shorten a man's days, and worry brings an old age before its time. A heart that is cheerful and good will pay attention to the food he eats. Tonight's discussion was on convenience versus health, and I read the Wisdom of Sirach, chapter 30, verses 23 through 25. Shalom, everyone.
Okay, anybody have any comments or questions on that? Okay, we're gonna go to our current events. I'll play them and then we'll break them down as we go. Okay.
Speak for the trucking industry. I'm actually sitting in Seattle, Washington right now without a load. I don't have no load right now. I dropped my load 8 o'clock in the morning and it's already 1 o'clock that I'm sitting here waiting for the load. A lot of people have been asking me, does it gonna get fixed? Is it gonna get better? I have no clue what is gonna happen because day by day it's getting worse and worse. I have no clue.
Trucking and freight layoffs are exploding across the nation, especially in states like California, where on top of the tariffs and quantitative tightening, they've also doomed themselves by implementing EV standards that they can't even afford to maintain. Now, despite these surging trucker layoffs, economists are predicting that the worst of these layoffs has not even begun yet, as they estimate that the explosion is going to take place of trucker layoffs the end of this month and into June. In yet another example that the U.S. economy is so toxic, so riddled with debt and debauchery, that the only chance each and every one of us has at living a comfortable life again, remember what that was like, is a total implosion and reset in the U.S. economy. Now, truckers right now are panicking as there appears to be absolutely no relief in sight. But the question is this, you guys, is what does all this mean to you and I? And welcome back to Real Estate Mindset. You guys already know that this video is going to be absolutely bonkers. Mitch Vexler, how are you today, sir?
It's an interesting topic. You have people that obviously are in the trucking, and you have other people that are in the shipping. It's interesting that the shipping coming out of China, they're saying, well, all the boats are loaded and it's a mass quantity coming over, yet here the trucking doesn't correlate to what you're seeing in the shipping. So somebody's not telling the truth, but we'll try to get to the bottom of it.
No one's ever telling the truth, Mitch. No one is never telling the truth, at least not to the public, because they need us to continue to be delusional and continue to indebt ourselves. Either way, we're going to start with a video breakdown of exactly what's happening with trucker layoffs.
Well, Nicole, we're hearing words like bad and dire and even crisis. We're standing next to a bunch of truck chassis because they're parked and they're not in use. And look on the other side there. They're stacked up, and in this truck yard alone, there are about 100 chassis stacked up because they don't need them. They're typically out on the roadways. Like everyone else along America's massive supply chain, truckers expect things to go from bad to worse.
This yard costs us money, this equipment costs us money, our chassis costs us money, our employees cost us money, electricity costs us money, right? So after 6 months, I would say we would be in pretty dire situations. And that's just us. And there's hundreds of companies like us who would probably be in this, most likely be in the same situation, if not worse.
For Height Logistics here in Long Beach, the situation is compounded by a very expensive company shift to a clean fleet. Over 20 big rig EVs with price tags of about $500,000 each. Due to far less freight to haul, the company started layoffs this week and cut all trucker shifts by half. There's word of similar tightening at other trucking companies and even some going out of business. The dire times triggered by the nosedive in freight traffic, specifically imports from China, nearly half of which are typically handled by the ports here in Southern California.
Close it back down, right? Everything appears to be fine. Can you just end, because I know I said there's just one last question, but this just came to me. You know, the people that are watching this, right? Maybe they're worried about the economy because they should be. Maybe they're aware of the fraud because they should be, because they've been frauded, just defrauded like I have for decades. For the people that are concerned about their retirement, 401ks, and things like that, can you give us, and this is not personalized financial advice, but what do you think that most people should be investing in right now to retire? Real quick, what I've been investing in, I already liquidated my 401k. That was me personally. I'm investing in metals. You know, for me, looking at all the inflation, looking at the crypto, all of this devaluation of the dollar, it seems like the road to retirement is through metal. I'm not a gold salesman. I'm not a silver salesman. I've been accused of that for some reason. Mitch, where should people be investing their money right now to be able to retire in the future?
If somebody has 401ks, retirement systems, up in Canada, it's called the RRSP. The point is that if you do not know what's in those investments inside your 401k or the retirement pension plan, best you learn real fast, because you don't want to be exposed to a problem of the principal devaluation. You also don't want to be exposed to a problem where those who are operating those funds are making more in fees than you are in profit, because that is a self-fulfilling prophecy where you lose, they win. With that.
Okay, any comments on that?
No, sir, I haven't. Shalom.
Shalom. Go ahead.
Everyone. I was just wondering, being that these truckers are waiting for containers to put on the back of their trucks and deliver places, and they're saying they're holding them, are they paying back, or these products has been sold already? The companies have purchased those items. So are they going to give that money back to them, or just going to hold it wherever it's at until whenever? That's one of my concerns. And then the gentleman says he's putting his money into metal. And I know, just figuratively, when there's going to be a war or something, that old cars and that's going to get crushed and things like that, they amp up the money for tons. If you have metal and what have you, bring them to the scrap yard. You get more money for it, because they says that's something that they always suspect that, or prepare for a war to happen, because they're going to need those metals to make things out of them for the military. So that's one thing he put in people's mind, because everyone's talking about gold and silver, but no one's talking about the metal. That just, those two things sparked in my interest.
Okay, yeah, for the metals, America is not, that's the whole thing behind what's going on now. They're not in position like they were in World War I and II to even mass produce anything when it comes to breaking down old metal and all that. They're not in a position to do it. So that's a problem right there. Okay. Somebody else had something?
Yeah, Shalom. I think listening to that video, I'm just continuing to be amazed that I am living in a time to see America get deconstructed the way in which it's being done.
Right.
And it's just amazing to see me. And it's definitely a intentional internal job. And I didn't know if I would ever live to see such a thing. And then seeing the West really also are being deconstructed by their own laws and by their own behavior. um it's just, to me, it's just amazing to see God's hand at work like this, because this is definitely something that I would have never predicted.
Exactly. Right. Anybody else? Okay, here we go.
I lost my car, I lost my job, I lost my grandma, and I had to move back in with my mama, back in my hometown. So not only am I living with my mama, but I'm back where I was 5 years ago.
Mass eviction filings are surging across the nation, with monthly filings being around 300,000 households per month, of which 150,000 of those turn into judgments and destroy the ability of those distressed tenants to ever rent again. And what that does, you guys, is it pushes some of those people into homelessness. This surge of evictions is devastating all Americans, but especially those Americans who are senior citizens and single parents. You guys, they take the biggest hit. Now, all of that money that was printed to help offset the price hikes from this rent is gone. And what's left is the sky-high rent payments, which unfortunately drastically exceeds our income growth. All of these Americans that are suffering to keep up with their bills has now drastically impacted commercial multifamily investors, as the eviction rate in some of these massive buildings is over 50%. So if you're someone who is struggling with rent, the question is what can you do to avoid eviction and get back on track to the road of living a comfortable life? And today, we're going to discuss all of those things, as well as listen to a few videos of what exactly is happening on the ground. You guys, boots on the ground intel. But before we go into all of that, welcome back to Real Estate Mindset. This video is going to be absolutely bonkers. Mitch Wexler, how are you, sir?
I'm fine. This topic is very deep. This topic is rather hard to fathom, but the connections between people being evicted and what's happening in the commercial real estate is a direct result. And we're going to do the best we can here to try and tie this together. But the wall of debt on the commercial real estate side, which may take down the banks, which is part of the eviction process, is allegedly around $1.5 trillion in 2025. The problem.
I look forward to you joining us at our next. Let's go into tracking now, Mitch, some of the top leading metro areas of eviction. And I want to start by listening to a video that was released last month in April about what exactly is going on in Houston. Literally, where I live right now, it's so bad. Well, take a listen.
Increases across Houston are forcing more tenants out of their homes. Many of them are seniors and people with disabilities who are on fixed incomes. Rochelle Turner joins us live in the newsroom with more on this growing crisis. Haley and Amy, good morning to you. Last month alone, Houston landlords filed 3 times as many evictions as those in New York City. So we know how big New York City is. Despite New York's population being 3 times larger, some of those evicted have nowhere to go, pushing them to live on the streets. So we visited a shelter yesterday in Cleveland where evicted tenants say they simply can't keep up with the rising rent. Many of the people at the shelter have disabilities, mobility issues, or pets, making it harder to find shelter elsewhere. And now with an eviction on their record, finding permanent housing is even more difficult. Our Joy Addison spoke to 2 people who are on a fixed income who were recently evicted.
The place I went to, we could afford, they wanted $900, and you had to make 3 times that in order to rent. and I only get $2,700 a month.
Well, I had a good job in Texas, and I had lived there for 22 years, and I got behind in my rent. But then later on, here comes the deputy sheriff, this other deputy, and some other man, and they're pounding on my door, and they're telling me, "You got to get out now." And there was a bus stop right there where I lived at, and that's where I went, and I stayed there for 3 months or more.
Now, there are 3 shelters in Cleveland, and all of them are at full capacity. We spoke to a shelter worker who says the only real solution is either regulating rent increases or raising wages to keep up with the cost of living.
She said those facilities to help people not be homeless, especially disability, fixed income, senior citizens, maximum capacity. That lady slept on a bench at a bus stop for 3 months. We're going to go into that segment, and I want you guys to listen. We're going to listen to 2 people that are struggling right now, and I want you guys to pay attention to mental health and their attitudes, because we're sitting here, we're talking about money, we're talking about collapses, we're talking about programs and vouchers, but look at what these people are going through mentally.
So I'm currently not working, and I've been looking for jobs, and I'm not used to working. And I have been getting behind on bills. It has really been affecting my mental health. And with me being behind on bills and with my upcoming court date that is on May 21st, I don't know if I'm going to have a home or not. I am facing eviction. I don't have anyone that I can rely on. I don't have my mom. My mom passed away in 2018. And my dad passed away when I was a little girl in probably elementary school. And I have no siblings. And I do have, cousins and stuff like that, aunts. But everyone kind of has their own family, has their own thing going on. And, in today's economy, people just don't have it or have the space. My paycheck was short $300. I can't pay my rent on time. My car insurance is past due. It's like over $300. My energy bill is past due, and I've been paying little bits, and that's over $900. One of my senior technicians quit. And I tell you guys all the time that when you have struggles like this and you feel like you just don't know what to do. I have a wedding to save for. I'm gonna practice what I preach because I know God's got this. For any of you guys in the same boat, let's pray together.
Personally,
okay. Any comments on that? So we got the truckers, now we got real estate, eviction notice. Ain't looking good.
Well, Shalom, I think it's first of all the lady that says she got a wedding to plan for. That's a luxury. You don't have to plan a wedding. You can get married at the courthouse. That's one thing. But the other thing is that we've been taught and been preached to for at least over 50 years, at least since I was young, that America was the great frontier. You pull yourself up by the bootstraps.
This is what I looked like.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and it's just funny how uh that all of those sort of sayings and all of this sort of facade that America has been built on is just crashing down. It was never a place where you can build yourself up by your bootstraps. We were always interconnected, but when it negatively impacted us, nobody really cared. But now that it's impacting a much greater uh, population in America, of certain demographics, not everybody wants to sound the alarm. There's no such thing, and it never was a pull yourself up by the bootstraps. And that whole video just makes that come to my mind. And then the lady, I just thought it was unrealistic to even say It's a luxury to me. If you don't have no money and you worry about your rent, you don't plan for having a wedding. You just get married. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But I mean, that's just me.
yeah, that's what the average American, especially Christian, that's what they is. Then she came behind that and talking about God. You
Right?
know what I'm saying? So that's
Yeah,
crazy.
it's just it's fake. It's just it's
Right,
like they live in a delusion,
right. And
illusion. I'm
uninformed,
sorry.
right? Uninformed. Yeah. Anybody else got
Sure.
anything on that?
Shalom. As I was just thinking about how they were speaking on rent and jobs and things of that sort, I thought back at our last two classes that we had when they was talking about a coup. Um, Trump basically, when he was in office the first time, sat there with Putin and what have you. And now this time he's here again. And I'm thinking that he set up this coup to take down the U.S. with Russia and with China because this is ridiculous how all these programs are going to um, out and how they allowing certain rent to be sky high. Yes, they're saying, you know, always put enough money in your, house money in case of something like this happens. You at least you lose your job. You should have at least 6 months rent placed away, and then some do it, some don't. Some can't even afford it because of um, the wage, the employment rate has not gone up. That amount of 7.50 an hour, then you're lucky to get any kind of um, wages up within your job, how that works. But this is not an excuse for the people who are able to save and did their spending frivolously and what have you, and now they are in this situation. I'm just thinking how all this came about and with the coup of, and I'm placing a coup on Trump taking down the United States as they are happening. Like you say, Esau, well, this is the way it's doing this United States and everyone who's working, because who knows if they shut off any kind of benefits going to the veterans, any kind of benefits going to the governor, the ones who are in office right now, what's going to happen to them if they do all this at one big hurrah? Because right now he's trying to stop the Medicaid, the Medicare. Uh, they put in some orders or sign this paperwork that um, people will go back to work if they're on Medicare or Medicaid. Um, they're talking about how much money they can save to build the wall. The money will go, all this money you're saving, go to build the wall, to build little places along the wall to put the people in, to hire the people. So they're saying all that money is going for those things, which I don't think is going to happen either, for that wall to be built up off that money. But again, I digress.
Okay.
Shalom.
Yeah, go ahead.
To me, first of all, it ain't just a wall that they talking about they building, and the bill that they just passed, they talking about building a dome. They want a dome like Israel. And like I was saying earlier, they were talking about, this whole mentality of the alleged frontier, and they came over here and they banged it out in the West, building up themselves, and like I said, from their bootstraps. But what we're finding out after all this time, they've been subsidizing these places like Israel all along. These people have free education. They have, to some degree, free health care. But they here in America, they telling us that we got to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps, and we got to be able to go and work hard and go get 2 or 3 jobs just to make ends meet. It's a lie. And that lie is being torn down every day. This isn't anything, and it isn't Trump. This is something that has been a collaborative, in my mind, a collaborative um, deconstruction of America between the Democrats and the Republicans for as far back as is probably the beginning,
Right.
if you think about it. And this is just a culmination of all of that. It just happened to be under Trump, but look at how it's being destroyed under Trump. The most uninformed, uneducated, entitled person that could possibly be in charge at this time is not by design, is by design, not by accident.
Exactly. Right. Right. Yeah. And the thing to me that's being exposed, like I was saying before, um, they kept the both of the scenarios separate for a long time, Africa and America, but they both of them they connected at the hip. So we see now that those countries like France and all that, now that these African countries are kicking them out and taking over they resources, their whole life. Well, we sit back in the day thinking they had it going on with the fashions and the way they was dressing, the cars. They was siphoning all of it off of Africa. Well, the same thing over here in America. They've been siphoning off the African American community that's here. They siphon off us all the way up they got when they with the cotton and the tobacco, they got it off our back. And then, and like I said, people don't realize the ramifications of like I was talking about the other day, those athletes, those guys like Matt Johnson, Michael Jordan, them guys worth billions of dollars. They ain't paying them that. You know, we got some now getting 300 or 400,000. I mean, 300 or 400 million. They thinking that's something, but they worth way more than that. But the lifestyle that we look at on a day-to-day basis that they got, they're getting off of the backs of these men. These people, right? These super athletes, super dudes that around here, the country, they've been getting it. It's now being exposed. The same way they was siphoning off Africa, they was siphoning off us. Like I said, they keep saying they want us to go, but they can't afford to let us go because their whole lifestyle would go to the dogs the same way it's going to the dogs with these African countries taking back their mineral rights. So a prime example was back when Lincoln had freed the slaves, so-called freed the slaves, and then they were supposed to go back to go back. They was gonna send them all back, right? Well, you had all these companies, like for example, you had a company that made shoes for the slaves. All the slaves that was in America, the slave when they come here, when they come to the plantation, they were giving them a pair of shoes, a couple pair of pants, shirt, a hat, all this stuff, gloves. Well, look at the money they was making. So if all those slaves left, they wouldn't have made their money. So when they found out that Lincoln was gonna send them out of here, they all got together and petitioned that and stopped it. And like I said, look who spent all the money. They keeps telling us over and over again how much money we spend in the run of a year. Well, that's the same money we're looking at that these people riding around with these big ass houses in these luxurious neighborhoods and all that. That's the same money. Soon when we go, then that's gonna go too. So their whole life that we've been looking at all this time, they've been getting it off of our bag all this time, both over here and in Africa. And now the Creator, Lord of Hosts, bringing all that to an end, and it's being exposed. Okay. Any comments?
Shalom. I just want to say thank you, Sister Tasha. Yes, I agree with you now as I listen to what you were saying, far as what's happening. And yes, Brother Leonard, they have, and they will collapse if we all left. And it is something that we are doing this day to day, revealing how things are happening, but who's really looking at it. Um, they are not. They're now that they're crying out about what's happening to them. They're not really looking at how they created that. They created the whole situation. I believe by voting and by not taking. It's not just the president. It's from the mayor, the district person who's in your district, then up to the mayor, the senator, all the way up the line, because they know they're getting this money and they're building their wealth off of the backs of the workers, like you said.
Okay, so we had needed no information. When we talking about a coup, so I brought it up yesterday that they had another coup that just happened in the Ivory Coast. It's like next door to Burkina Faso. And so he got the results of me some more information on that. It's being explained how it went down.
You Raila, we are coming for you. You Kalonzo, we are coming for you.
And like I said, you finna start seeing a domino effect all over, just like with the Arab Spring I told you about, the Summer of Rage.
All the entire ministers of the fucking shit regime on this same channel,
calling out all the presidents in Africa. Beware.
On this same seat, this same setup, I boldly said that Africa will unite again. Ladies and gentlemen, as I'm talking to you right now, something serious, another coup has happened in La Côte d'Ivoire.
It appears that there's an actual coup in Ivory Coast. The puppet of France and America, the very, very puppet that was chosen by Michael Langley to bring down Burkina Faso's president, Ibrahim Traoré, it's being reported that he has fled the country and that the military has taken over.
Now, if you remember, on the 13th of May 2025, there was a protest to remove the president in power. And from there, I realized that something might happen. Now, look at right now, Al-Hassan Ouattara is nowhere to be found. There was a coup on the 19th of May 2025. Now, maybe you are saying that, why did you not hear about it? Why are you now hearing about this? Today is 21st, and you are now hearing about this issue. What happened? Yes, apparently during the coup, they turned off the internet in La Côte d'Ivoire. And as I'm talking to you right now, the coup has been successful. That is why we are hearing this.
Hi, afternoon to all. Yesterday, 19 May 2025, were an internal coup in Ivory Coast. The president, Alassane Ouattara, might be killed or arrested at the moment. There is no internet at the moment. There is no internet connection. There is no visibility in Ivory Coast. So we, as a South African students at that moment, we are watching the circumstances very carefully, because Africa is the only country in Africa to give America a chance to come attack Burkina Faso. So we are watching Africa very closely right now. You know, we are waiting the final results, see what happens in Africa.
Okay, so you gotta watch the video. And like I said, a picture's worth 1,000 words, but you gotta watch the video. This the Ivory Coast they coup d'etat explained when you see the images, and like I said, you don't look at you go back and look at videos from the Summer Rage. You're gonna see the exact same thing going on. It's something else going on. But anyway,
after Ibrahim Traoré became the president of Burkina Faso in 2022 through coup, I was like, if this guy and if this man is able to develop his country, other African countries will also start to, following his footsteps, following his footprint. And ladies and gentlemen, as I'm talking to you right now, it's going on. It is going on. Even there is this military man who is from Uganda, has also sent a strong warning to the president of Uganda, saying that if you don't take care, if you don't surrender, the same thing will happen to you. So, ladies and gentlemen, as I'm talking to you right now, Africans are saying that we are tired of the democracy.
It is not easy as we thought. It is not easy as you see people think. You, Ruto, we are coming for you. You, Raila, we are coming for you. You, Kalonzo, we are coming for you. You, Gachagua, we are coming for you. All the entire ministers of the fucking shit regime, we are coming for you. All the police, the DCIs, all the intelligence securities in Kenya, we are coming for you. I have given you Mr. Ruto, Mr. Raila, Mr. Kalonzo, with the all entire Moi student to resign the Kenyan polity as soon as possible before we landed in Kenya. We are not joking. We are tired with games that you people you are playing since the independence up to date. We now demand the space for all generations, for all Gen Zs, for all youths to occupy those spaces. Otherwise, what is happening in Ivory Coast, we are applying as soon as possible in Kenya. We are not going to joke with you, Ruto, with you, Kalonzo, with you, Gachagua, with you, Raila, and the entire team. We want Kenya to be free and free that ever been before. All the prison will set off. We are going to release all the prison, and we are going to arrest all of you. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. We are going to occupy all the airports. We are going to occupy all the territories, all the borders, without fear or favor.
And there is one funny thing. You know, when Ibrahim Traore sent the USA and the France military away, they started getting closer to La Côte d'Ivoire, and even La Côte d'Ivoire president said to Captain or General Langley that Burkina Faso president is using the gold as a source of support to seek military support from Russia, and also using the money to protect the junta regime in Burkina Faso. Since then, and then the people of La Côte d'Ivoire said, why are you snitching? This is the same thing that you guys did that ended Thomas Sankare's life. And this is the same thing that you are about to do. Why, Africans, do you not learn? Do you not learn your history? So do you not know how to differentiate your enemies from your friends? So when Ibrahim Traore sacked France and USA, their military joined La Côte d'Ivoire. So La Côte d'Ivoire welcomed them. And the youth are saying that, that is not how we do it. So now the military has taken the powers into their hands. And you know, when you talk about military in Africa, even nowadays that military is about family, is about who you know. 50 years, 70 years ago, before someone will be like, I want to be the military, and before someone will be like, I want to join the military, then the person is going to sacrifice his soul, his body, everything, dedication to protect the government, to develop his country, and prevent any external or internal force. But we are in 2025, where we are experiencing neo-colonization, imperialist, like instead of a president to look after his country and to protect the country, they will be serving another man, like they will be serving other countries, their family members. They will open an window to
all right. Okay. Any comments on that? What do you think?
Shalom. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead, baby.
Okay. What it seems like he's saying to me is that if we're great, we don't need the help from other nations. We don't need Russia. We don't need China. We don't need none of them. and you're allowing Russia and China to come in and um, taking out Europe and the U.S. out. But if we're good, we don't need U.S., Russia, China, or Europe. That's what I'm getting from he's saying, if I'm not mistaken.
They using Russia and China that's the reason this is happening, because of Russia and China has stepped in and they have an alternative. Well, up until this point, they had no alternative. In America, when the West was bullying them around because they as soon as they would find out that they had any kind of rebellion in them, they came up dead. They didn't have no alternatives. But now, in 2025, they got Russia and China and these BRICS countries. And that's why this is happening. Oh, that's what they're projecting. Okay. Anybody
So
else?
when they, okay, I'm sorry, go Tasha.
Shalom. I was just gonna say I agree because one of the things that has been successful is that they have kept Africa in an infancy stage to where they had no military, they had
Right.
no power to be able to
Right.
rise up against them. I mean, also there's also that spiritual aspect of it, but they kept them in a state where they were not able to build. Look at how fast Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger is able to. I mean, Burkina Faso is the one that's out front, but all of them are developing at a rapid rate. And
Right.
I think there was something that was said the other day was about, or I saw today about an underground train system that they can go 750. It's not miles, kilometers, or something. I don't know what their speed thing is, but they haven't that hasn't been done anywhere else, at least not in Africa anyway.
Right.
So it's just it's they have kept them from growing. It's like having a child and keeping them at home and not teaching
Right.
them. You feeding them just barely enough to stay alive, but not enough to grow. And that's what they've done. And I like Brother Leonard said, Russia, China, and even South Korea to an extent is giving them their ability to get up on their feet. And I don't think they have any illusions about, they need to watch their back. And I think they definitely do. But I don't think they have the same relationship that these countries have with the West. I think Russia and China despise the West. And they were,
Exactly.
and right, and they had a relationship with the West because the West had Africa. But now that Africa is kicking off the West, they can deal with Africa directly themselves. And then it could be to an advantage for both sides. At least that's what we hope. Shalom.
Right. Right. Yeah. So you can see that, like I was saying before, when you understand what was told to Daniel about the four beasts, that is diverse. It was diverse from the other three. So what is he talking about? Is able to the Babylonian Empire rose and fell in the same place. It wasn't able to relocate. The second beast, the Medes and Persians rose and fell in the same place, and the Greeks rose. But the fourth beast, which is Esau and the Gentiles came together, and they's able to relocate. So you say, what are you talking about? Remember, these people was in Britain. The Roman Empire started over in Italy, but then it ended up in Rome. I mean, it ended up in Great Britain. The Great Britain Empire ruled the world. Then they came here, right? They came to a whole nother land. Well, what they do? They came here and they brought all kind of diseases and killed off the Indians. That's what they're doing now. It's moving again. It's, like I said before in my videos, it says 10 heads. The fourth beast got 10 heads. What are you talking about? It moves 10 different times. America was the 9th time. We look at the last move. It's moving now to Africa. And what they're doing, they setting the stage now. They clean the ground out. Same way they did when they came here. They came over with polio and all that in the blankets. We gave it to the Indians. This continent was just like an African continent. It was people everywhere. They came and killed them all. They're doing the same thing now. They set the stage. They already told us 90-something% of the world gonna be in Africa. Why? Because they relocating. Like you just said, it ain't no super fast trains nowhere else in the world because they move. That's where they moving to. This new society is gonna be in Africa, and they're using this technology right here. What I'm saying to clear the way for it, making it look like it's Pan-Africanism. They clearing the way. They use it. So I mean, I don't know if anybody was paying attention to the video I played Tuesday, where they was talking to Langley, the guy that supposedly called out Tory and said he was doing underhanded stuff. Well, the guy Langley that's over there, African, he trained all the people you see that doing these coups. America trained them. But if you go back to the video, the guy asked him, the senator asked Langley about how many people you think that y'all trained. And he said he ended up at around 50,000, 60,000. That's the armies. Them people that's causing the coups. The ones that didn't train. Come on. Yeah.
Shalom. When you say that they're moving to Africa, so are you saying, or do you see that the power structure is still going to be Esau when they go to Africa?
Yeah, that's what they're doing. So another thing I had said was in Ezekiel chapter 38, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who is Gog and Magog?
China and Russia.
There is. China and Russia. And what he says, they've come to the land of the upright people, the land of the Israelites, to take a spoil again. Where they at?
But that's the last battle, though.
That's where we at.
Mm-hmm.
Like I say, it ain't no Antichrist. All that's been made up. We at the end. We at the end of what was prophesied.
Right.
The last two in Second Ezra, he said two little wings was reserved for the end. That's Gog and Magog. The two little wings at the end is gonna bring the beast, the fourth beast, after the 10 horns. It's gonna bring it to an end. That's Gog and Magog. And that's what we're looking at. They like I said, high technology. They don't. I was talking earlier about all the money they made off us since we've been over here. They don't need us no more because of what technology is. They don't need us. They don't need us no more because they got AI and all that. So they are in the process of now finding a way to try to dispose of us. And like you was just saying, they've been had places all over the world where it's just stay at. They the only ones there. And they got all the wealth that they siphon off of us and off of Africa, but it came from us, but they living lavishly off of it, just like the scripture said. But the Creator is back. We know the Creator and the Lord of hosts is back now, and He's dismantling all that. But they're not just gonna give up and lay down. They're still trying to bring about what they want to bring about. You think they forgot about the temple? Everybody dealing with all the chaos that happened and came upon the earth since Trump came in office, but everything's still the same. They still want to build a temple. Everybody forgot about that. So all this, what we're looking at, is about them building a temple.
Yeah, but they ain't got them heifers though.
Right, exactly. And like I said, Esau, he's the pro at all this. I mean, look what he done. Look how he come copied JC and everything surrounding JC. Got the whole world mesmerized off of that. So, like I said, you follow his foot. If you follow his footsteps or follow these videos that's on Prophets of Awakening, way back, we talking about Echo Atlantis. That's the new hub for the world. It's gonna replace London. What their objective is to use that Echo Atlantis in Nigeria for a business model, it's going to replace London. Be looking at the fourth beast coming into transformation. That's what we're looking at. But we people so discombobulated they're not following the narrative and to see exactly what it is that they're doing. Okay. Any comments, questions?
Well, I have a question that kind of is an offshoot of that. So I don't know, have you heard about they have been able to turn lead into gold?
Right, yeah. But
You heard about that?
Right, that's old. That's old. The Egyptians was doing that. And then that's what the whole thing with what's the guy name? If I'm not mistaken, it's Newton. Sir Francis Newton. That's what they had ability to do. They learned it from the Egyptians. That's why the Egyptians had so much gold everywhere. They already knew the art of how to turn lead into gold. And like I said before, they misguided us. And when they always talking about Mesopotamia and Sumner with Enki and Elil. No, the 200 angels came down in Egypt. That's what the 200 angels came down there. These highly intelligent beings. And then they lost their ability to ascend back in heaven. So that's where they was at. Like I was saying, let me show you what I'm talking about. When you go to the book of like I said, maybe it's not, it don't when we was talking about it, it don't register nothing. But anyway, I'm in Enoch. I'm in Ezekiel. So this is the heart of Egypt. A lot of people don't, it wasn't registering. So let me see if it's in, first of all, let me see if it's in Isaiah 19. It may be in Isaiah 19. Let me look. And so if it's, this is where the giants was at. So if this is where the giants at, this is where the fallen angels came down at, because they created giants. So I mean, yeah, 19, Isaiah 19. If you want to read along with me. So I mean, Isaiah 19, it says, the oracle concerning Egypt, the burden of Egypt. Behold, the Lord rideth upon a swift cloud, and shall come into Egypt, and the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence, and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it. So the topic is the heart of Egypt, right? And I will set the Egyptians, like I said, these giants. That's what Mezraim is the other word for Egyptian, which means they giants, against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his brother and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, kingdom against kingdom. And the spirit of Egypt, there you go, the spirit of Egypt shall fall in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the council. Here you go, the council thereof. And they shall seek to the idols and to the charmers and to them that have familiar spirits and to the wizards. And the Egyptians will give over into the hands of a cruel Lord, and a fierce king shall rule over them, says the Lord of hosts. And the waters shall fail from the sea, and the rivers shall be wasted and dried up, and they shall turn the rivers far away, and the brooks of defense shall be emptied and dried up, and the reeds and the flags shall wither. The paper reeds by the brooks, by the mouth of the brooks, and everything shall sown by the brooks shall wither and be driven away and be no more. The fishers also shall mourn, and all they that cast angle into the brooks shall lament, and they shall spread nets upon the waters shall languish. Moreover, they that work in the fine flex and they that weave networks shall be confounded, and they shall be broken, okay, in the purposes thereof. All that makes slices and puns for fish. Here you go, right here. Surely the princes of Zoan. So you got to go find out what that's a city. Not Memphis and all that. They talk about Petros and Memphis right here. It says, surely the princes of Zoan, these giants that came from the fallen angel, the princes of Zoan are fools. The council of the wise council of the Pharaoh. That's what the the Pharaoh of Egypt got all his counsel from. These princes, these giants, which got these supernatural abilities, right? Says of the wise counsel of the Pharaoh is become brutish. How say ye unto the Pharaoh, I am the son of the wise, see, the son of the angel, the son of the ancient kings, the angels, right? 12, where are they? Where are thy wise men? And let them all tell thee now, and let them know what the Lord of hosts have proposed upon Egypt. Then here you go again, 13. The princes of Zoan have become fools. The princes of Nu, they go another city. This is where they was at. Zoan, Nu are deceived. They have also seduced Egypt. See that? These princes, these fallen angels, along with the giants, that seduced Egypt. See that? Even they that are the stay of the tribe thereof. The Lord have mingled a perverse spirit in the midst of thereof, and they have caused Egypt to err in every work thereof, as a drunken man staggered in his vomit. Neither shall there be any works for Egypt, which the head or the tail, the branch or the rush may do. In that day shall Egypt be like unto a woman, and it shall be afraid and feared because of the shaking of the hand of the Lord of hosts, which he shaketh over it. So, like I was saying before, that's why Egypt is like it is now, because he came and done this to it. So we know that in Ezekiel 38 and Ezekiel 37, a shaking is coming. And the way we see this place right here, well, we're in the midst of it. When we see this place, it's going to end up the same way Egypt was. He's going to shut it down. But all the stuff, all the supernatural stuff and all the technology that we see, people are finding out in Egypt, that's what was going on then, because of those fallen angels was there, but he shut it down. And so we see this, it's coming right back to the same thing again today. But it's already been prophesied. Like he said, it's going to be a great shaking, just like a great shaking came to Egypt and shut it down. Okay, and the person that done it, we ain't even nobody even aware of him. They busy just dealing with JC and Serapis and all them characters. They're not even dealing with the person that's done all this. That's where the drama is coming in at. Any comments? Okay, everybody good? Let me see what I was at. Okay. Play a little more of this.
You will not see it. By the time you realize, then they have already done with the enrollment. They have already admitted the people who are.
So when you understand, like I was saying, that they want to build that temple, they ain't forgot about that. They ain't got away from it. They taking the world off of it, being focused on it. But they want to build a temple, but they need to have the resources and all that in place, because they want to rule for 1,000 years. So they want to establish Africa and all the minerals and wealth that is there first before they do that. That's what we're looking at right here, under the guise that we think is revelations. Okay. So with that being said, I open it up for some questions and comments, any dialogue. Anybody have got dialogue? Anything they want? Questions or comments about anything?
Shalom, I have a question. If you can kind of expound on the 10 beasts, and you saying that the last battle, if you will, or the last conflict is going to be in Africa. It sounds like you're saying that Esau is going to be in control of Africa the way that they have been everywhere else, like they were in England, and I guess, and I'm just going to put it for me. I'm visualizing the way that we have been programmed. It's a black and white thing. So
Right.
when you
Yeah, Esau said that. Esau said that narrative in place. Same way he said JC, he's behind all these narratives that we've been dealing with all our lives. But yeah, go ahead.
Right. But if Africa is rising the way that we see it. I understand the separation of the pan what is it, Pan-Africanism. I see that
Right.
as separate, but you're saying that these people that are rising up to take their stuff back, they're not really the people in control. Is that what you're saying?
No, they're not in control. So like I was saying before, right now we saw what when Saddam Hussein raised his head up, right?
Mm-hmm.
What did the West do to him?
I understand that, but I don't know. It just seems like something is different this time. There
Right.
is a
That's what they want you to
okay. Go
think.
ahead.
That's what they want. That's what they want everybody to think. But if you just think back, is that same military might and power that they used to do away with Gaddafi and what they did away with Saddam Hussein, those powers still there. They still there. So, and like I was saying before, if you go back, if you haven't done it, go look at the Google on YouTube, the Summer of Rage, and look at it. You're gonna see that it's some kind of technology that they have, like I say, which is harps tied to frequency. They can make all those people. They can make people erupt. So they made that's the reason why the Middle East today ain't like it was. They shut the whole Middle East down after that Summer Rage. They had all these African people that just came they was like zombies. You can tell they wasn't under their own countenance. They just erupted all over the Middle East and it changed the whole complexity of the Middle East. You see it again happening right now. Like the guy was just saying, we coming for all of y'all. We coming for everybody. He started calling out all the African nations. Right? So, like I said before too, look at the video I played about Pastor Manning. So look at all the chaos that's running across Africa, and when it's all said and done, and if America behind it, they're gonna need leaders. Ain't that what Pastor Manning said? They're gonna appoint African American leaders over Africa. They're gonna dismantle it first, then they're gonna come back with their people and set it up, headed toward the building the temple.
And what role do we play in that?
All we gotta do is sit back, and when you understand it, like I was just saying about the Lord of Hosts, sit back and they gonna dig in a hole for themselves. We read David tell us that in the Psalms over and over again. The vices that they come up with, they fall in their own holes.
Yeah.
So, and like I said before, all they doing is they doing the Lord of Hosts dirty work for him. Because he wants his people back in the land of Israel. He wants his people back on the African continent. They're just doing the work for him. But when he gets to a certain point, is when he's going to take over. Like I said in Ezekiel 37, he says, a great shaking. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, same thing happened in Egypt. They had lived for years with all that wickedness and sorcery, and then all of a sudden, a great shaking came. When the Most High indignation came to a full, he shut it down. That's where we at now. It's coming. We coming to a crescendo. He's gonna shut it all down. But it's like I said, if he doesn't step in, they're gonna keep on doing what they've been doing. They wanna build a temple in Jerusalem, a fake ass temple in Jerusalem. They're not even the people. They've existed over there for right now in 70 years as a delusion. But the Creator allowed it to happen. But it's gonna come a day when he's gonna cancel all that.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know nothing else. All they know is wickedness, and they're gonna continue doing it. That's what we at. Like I was saying before, when you just look at it, if you get the chance, look at those videos when they're showing you those riots that's going on in Africa. It's not that. That's not normal. It ain't normal. They doing it. They've been doing it. They have that capability. Okay. Anybody else got anything on that? Comments or questions?
Yes, shalom. Is it fair to reference uh, Zephaniah chapter 3, verse 8, when it says, "Therefore wait for me, says the Lord, until the day I rise up for puller. My
Right.
determination is to gather the nations to my assembly of kingdoms, to pour on their indignations all my fierce anger. All the earth shall be devoured with the
Right.
fire of my jealousy." 9.
Right.
For then I will restore the people pure language, that they all my call on the name of the Lord, that they may call on the name of the Lord, the serve to serve him with one accord. Is that's something that we can
That's it. That's it right there.
reference that to?
He said that
Okay.
the like I said, what our problem is right now. We don't know his name. These wicked ass people here, Rome and the four beasts, and then discombobulated his name. They took all the knowledge and flipped it all around, upside down. And so he says right there, when it's over with, he just like he did at the Tower of Babel, he's going to return our language. Then we're going to call on him because we got the pure language. We're going to give it back to the Israelites. That ain't happening. All that is what's going to shut all this down. And we right on top of it. Like I said, Esau's still in charge. We're not still in captivity. We still in captivity. We still in the lands of our captive. We still captives in the land of our enemies. And all these Negroes hollering about 400 years, we still here. How is it 400 years? How the 400 years over when we still here? Still being manipulated. Okay.
Shalom. I have one more question. When he comes back, he's not coming back until all his people know him or recognize and start to, eyes opening to the Lord of hosts, or the ones who don't get it just don't get it.
When he comes back, you go to I'm always reading it, is in he's gonna pour out his spirit on the whole earth. And like I said, we know that he breathed the breath of life into Adam. And that spirit that's in Adam came all the way down to all his descendants. So when that spirit is poured out, it's only going to affect the remnant. Like I keep saying about the DNA. That spirit is going to affect the DNA. And that's why I was saying about in these very days right now that we're in, he's uncovering all these truths. And when that truth come across an Israelite, he's gonna respond to it. If he don't, you already know something wrong. Something ain't right. They ain't responding to it because this is his way of waking up his people and getting them ready for what's getting ready. Well, it's already happening, but he waking them up now for them to start. He putting that spirit of searching out things and ears to hear and eyes to see. And if when that spirit, you come across that spirit and you ain't dealing with it or you reject it, it's something wrong. It ain't hard to figure out.
Okay. Shalom. So is it fair to say when he said that, excuse me, Ruth was a Moabite, but the third generation, he says that he's going to, everyone who's been mixed, he will restore them? Is that
Exactly.
so? Now, this day, because it would be hard for us to go all the way back to our ancestors in the beginning. but the spirit is what you're saying is going to move us as we recognize and open ourselves up to the Lord of hosts.
Exactly.
That's
So
fair to say.
right. So example, like I said, it's nothing new under the sun. When you go back to Ezra, they was in Babylon. They was in the captivity in Babylon, right? And then this what happened. And we in captivity now. So I'm in Ezra, right? And it says, chapter 1, Jeremiah prophesied this. He says, now in the first year of Cyrus, king of Persia, that the word of the Lord by the mouth of Jeremiah might be fulfilled. They in captivity in Babylon, right? That stirred up the spirit of Cyrus, king of Persia, that he made a proclamation throughout all the kingdom, put it in writing, saying, thus says Cyrus, king of Persia, the Lord God of heaven, given me all the kingdoms of the earth, and he have charged me to build him a house in Jerusalem, which is in Judea. Now here you go. Who is there among you of all his people? His God be with him. Let him go up to Jerusalem, which is in Judea, and build the house of the Lord, God of Israel. He is the God which is in Jerusalem. So they, at this time, they in Babylon. They're not in their homeland. Same with us. We're not in our homeland. But the same event getting ready to take place again. So it says, and whosoever remaineth in any place where he sojourned, let the men of his place help him with silver. See that? With silver, with gold, and with goods. Not you. It's like I was saying. You see what's happening? Everything going back to gold. It's not coincidence. So he says, with silver and gold, and with goods, and with beasts, and besides the free will offering of the house of the Lord, house of God, which is in Jerusalem. Now here go my point. 5. Then rose up the chief fathers of Judah, Benjamin, and the priests and the Levites with all those whom the Spirit of God had raised. See that? Ain't nothing new under the sun. So the ones that he responded to his spirit is going to go, that's who he's dealing with. So he says, like I said, they in Babylon, they're not in Jerusalem. They're not in their homeland. All them whose spirit God had raised to go up to build the house of the Lord, which is in Jerusalem. And all they that were about them strengthened their hands with vessels of silver, gold, goods, beasts, and with precious things, besides all that was willingly offered. So like I was saying before, when you look at it, when you start looking at that like a Hebrew and thinking like a Hebrew, they had all kind of stuff too. Like right now, we got shit. We got stuff over here. They couldn't take that with them. We're in the same predicament. We've been here for at least 400 some years. We can't take that with us. But the same thing happened. We got to do the same thing they did. We got to unass all this stuff here. We got to leave. That's what Negroes not understanding what's getting ready to happen. And he got the gold. He already working on the gold and the finances. He terrorizing all the finances because it's going to be ours. And they still trying to maintain their plan, but it ain't going to work. They got a plan. They haven't faulted for their plan. Their plan is to build a temple in Jerusalem, and their plan is to set up in Africa. That's what their plan is, to support what they get ready to do in Jerusalem with the temple. And they want to exterminate, just like the Pharaoh wanted to do, exterminate the Israelites. That's what we're looking at. It's nothing new under the sun. But you gotta understand his powers that's over them too. Because when Moses, we read the other day, when Moses threw down his staff, he turned into a snake. Then he had people over there, I just showed you in Egypt. They throw down their staff and they turned into a snake. So these powers ain't went nowhere, they still there too. And they playing this what they concocted, which is they the ones behind the fourth beast. They done learned how to relocate. They went to France with Charlemagne. They ended up over in Great Britain and ruled the world for a long time there. Then they came here. And they prepped the land first by killing all the people off. Then they came to America. Now we see America, the ninth beast. Now they sent all those technology that they had learned over the years to China. Then China, they built China up for a reason. Now they tearing this place down because they wanted to be over with China. They're using China and Russia to build up the last incarnation of the fourth beast.
Shalom.
Right.
I think it's going to be interesting to see how that all manifests, because, like you said, the first of all, they got to have the calves. I mean, heifers. They got to have that, and they haven't been able to find pure heifers. The fact that they keep saying that they got to perform this ritual in order to start the building, after they said Jesus said, oh, the old ways are done away with. That's another thing. Then the other thing, something that I remember you talking about, was the fact that they got to have a king and the priest. So it's going to be interesting to see who rises up to be that king in order to manifest the story that they've told about Jesus and Revelations and all of that. Because without a king, without a priest, without them heifers, they're not going to be able to do anything. So I'm sitting back watching how all of this going to manifest in order for them to pull off that illusion.
Right. See, the thing about that is a lot of that's happening, but people are not focused on it or zeroed in on it. So, like I was saying, for the last year or so, they've been using that harps. They've been doing all kinds of stuff over Jerusalem. They got Jesus appearing in the sky over Jerusalem. They got angels in the sky. They're using harps to do all that. So it's already all the stage already being set. But we're not understanding what's going on with it.
Right, but it can't come to pass though without those three things I was talking about, right? So it won't be real. And
it ain't gonna be real, especially somebody that's awakened. But just imagine somebody don't know what you know. They gonna, you know what I'm saying? They actually believe that those are angels and those apparitions and all that they're using over the skies and Jerusalem. They actually think that that's real. Yeah. They don't know that they're false. They don't know that that's illusions.
I think it's interesting too that they have a dome, because okay, I wasn't gonna say this at first, but the fact that we are living now in a time that, like I said, I don't think it's by accident or coincidence that someone of Trump's stature and intelligence and all the other stuff that comes with him is the president now. I think that was an intentional thing to do in order to bring in all of this outrageous stuff, so that people be like, oh no, that's just Trump being Trump. But that's by design. This man's talking about building a dome just like they got in Jerusalem. He's the one that all of this mystical stuff and stuff from old, he's actually talking about that. But people are dismissing it because of who he is and all the lies and stuff he's told, all things. But that's actually, he's now speaking truth. You understand what I mean?
Exactly. Right. And then you got to look at what nobody really deals with is why was it so mandatory that this dude had 32 counts, felonies? Why was it mandatory to get him and drag him all the way and destroy the whole democracy in America to make him president again?
Right.
Nobody looked at that.
Right. Well, I think they couldn't have used anybody else like they've always used, because that'd have been straight lace. They couldn't bring in all this others. Like he's talking about UFOs and all this. I mean, just bringing out all this stuff under the facade of what's really coming. You understand what I'm saying? And so I just feel like it's just a deception within a deception within a deception, but it's all synchronized to be the way that it actually is. And if you don't see it, you're gonna miss it, because it couldn't have been a Bush. Bush wouldn't have been able to do this.
No, exactly.
It had to be somebody just like him, so that people will be easily fooled and manipulated, because he's saying anything and everything and they believe it. And when he's lying, they believe he's telling the truth. When he's telling the truth, they think it's a lie.
Right. And another thing to that, that people not paying attention to. Like I was saying, first you gotta look at, they made him, see, he's like you go back to what's her name? Cleopatra, Queen Cleopatra back in Egypt time. That she had a cult following behind her. They had built that up as a cult following. The Pharaoh, what his name?
Anthony?
No, the king of Egypt. They called him Horus. Horus.
Horus,
So
yeah.
for thousands of years, they had built up this cult thing around him. So he had that following. So go back to Obama. He just came out of nowhere. But look what they did with the propaganda machine, the media machine they have in America. Oh, just like that. It didn't take them that long. They had put this frenzy over everybody, over the whole world. They had put all that information in, all these different videos, and they had turned them into like a cult. There's a cult following behind them, right? They did that. So they did look what they did with Trump. They used that same media machine and they built Trump up, had a cult following behind him. Now, and then you say, what are you talking about? Well, look what they're doing now in Africa. Come on, they're doing the same thing now. They're doing the same thing in Africa. Okay. So with that being said, like I said, I was going to read out of First Ezra. I'm going to read a couple of verses out of Ezra chapter, the first part of Ezra chapter 1, and then I'm going to go to chapter 5 to show what the cross comparisons to what's going on today and what actually happened back then. Right? So I'm in the apocryphal book, but I'm in First Ezra. Okay, and I want to read something. I was telling you about how when the Israelites came out of captivity in Babylon, right? Let me read that, then I'll go to chapter 5. Okay. Okay. Okay, I think, let me see if I'm right in the right place. Yeah, here you go. It says, yeah, here we go. So this is when they left Babylon. I just talked about that, but this right here is when they left Babylon, right? But this is when they left Babylon. They was in captivity in Babylon, and the 70 years was up. And it says, after this, the heads of the families were chosen to go up according to their clans, with their wives and their sons and their daughters, and their males and female slaves and their cattle. And Darius, so remember what he told him. Jeremiah told him, you're going to Babylon for 70 years. You're going to serve Nebuchadnezzar, his grandson, and his son and his grandson. So now this is the first year of Darius. So what the Most High, the Lord Host said, already, what Jeremiah had prophesied to them was up. They knew the time was up. So that's why all this is happening. So he says, after this, the heads of the families were chosen to go up according to their clans with their wives and their sons and daughters, and the males and the female slaves and their cattle, and Darius. So now Darius, the prophet, 7 years up. And Darius sent with them 1,000 horsemen to escort them back, see that, like I was saying, back to Jerusalem, right? In peace, with music of drums and flutes. Keep that in mind. He sent them back with music of the flutes, for all their brothers made merry. So they went back celebrating, right? Okay. And he made them go up with them. Now here you go. He's going to tell you who they are. These are the names of the men who went up by their families within their tribes for their priestly office of the priests, the sons of Phinehas, the sons of Aaron, Joshua. So that's the high priest right here, Joshua. That's in Haggai and in Zechariah. Jeshua, the son of Josadak, the son of Syria, and Joachim, the son of Zerubbabel, right? Son of Sethur, the house of David, of the line of Phinehas, of the tribe of Judah, who uttered wise sayings before Darius, king of Persia, in the second year of his reign, in the month of Nisan, in the first month. These are those from Judah, here you go. These are those from Judah who went up after their sojourn in the captivity, whom Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, had removed to Babylon, and who had returned to Jerusalem, the rest of Judah, each one of his own town, going with Zerubbabel. Here you go. Zerubbabel, this is the Messiah, Daniel 9:25. Zerubbabel and Joshua. Here you go. These names, we know these names, but we read over. Zerubbabel and Josiah. Nehemiah with them. Syria, Rezin, Mordecai with them. See that same Mordecai that we read about, whatever. He with them. Bashan, Martha. I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna read all these names because I'm gonna get to a certain point. So it says, okay. Okay. Yeah, so that was it. So Zechariah and Haggai, they with them. So like I said, if Zerubbabel is with if Zechariah and Haggai is with Zerubbabel, then you gotta go when everything you read in the book of Zechariah is tied to that. So when Zechariah chapter 9 says that your king is coming lowly riding upon an ass, that's Zerubbabel. He's with Zechariah. Zechariah came back with him. He's not talking about Christ. So that was my point. Because I'm always talking about that. So I wanted to show you that. But now I'm going to go to chapter 5 and I'll start reading. Okay. Okay, let me go to chapter 5. Yeah, here you go. Let me read this right quick. It says, but the heathens of the land pressed upon those who were in Judah, blockading them, hindering them from building, and by making plots and stirring up people and uprisings, they prevented the completion of the building all the lifetime of King Cyrus. So they were kept from building 2 years until the reign of Darius. That's what I was just reading. Now here you go. But in the second year of the reign of Darius, the prophet Haggai and Zechariah, see that? The son of Edu prophesied to the Jews who were in Judah and Jerusalem, prophesying unto them in the name of the Lord, the God of Israel. Then Zerubbabel, they go all three of them. They came back. Son of Sethur and Jeshua, the son of Jodak, go up and begin to build the house of the Lord that was in Jerusalem, while the prophets of the Lord joined them and helped them. So they all was there. I want you to know that. So whatever Zechariah is talking, whoever that is that Zechariah is saying in chapter 9, verse 9, that's riding on the ass, it ain't Jesus. He's with them. He came back riding on the ass. All of them came back on asses. And so we know it's Zerubbabel. He came back with them, riding on the ass. But another thing I want to show you, the same thing we see going on now, right? Look what they're doing. The Most High's prophecy is coming to pass, and look what they did, the heathen. But the heathen of the land pressed upon those who were in Judah. Same thing they're doing now to us. And blockading them, hindering them from building, and by making plots and stirring up people and uprisings, they prevented the completion of the building. They're doing the same thing now, like I said. The Most High prophecy is unfolded. They got all kind of plots and debaucheries, all kind of drama going on to try to throw you off from it. It ain't nothing new under the sun. So anyway, let me get this. I think I'm in. Yeah, that was first, Ezra. Let me see if I'm going to go to chapter 5. Let's see if that's what I wanted to read. Okay. Okay, here we go. In chapter 5 of First Ezra, and it says, yeah, here you go. It says, after the heads, I read that, okay. I go to verse 36, get past all these descendants. It says, I'm in 36. These are those who went up from Timnah to Taurus under the leadership of Cherah, Aden, Emar, and those are the priests who had assumed the priesthood but were not found registered. The descendants of Hadad, the descendants of Hazak, the descendants of Judah, who married Agar, one of the daughters of Barzillai, who was called by his name. And when the ancestry of those men were looked for in the register and could not be found, they were excluded from the officiating as priests. And Nehemiah and the governor and them and told them not to share in the consecrated things until the high priest could appear clothed in the manifestation and in the truth. And in all there were of Israel over 12 years of age, besides male and female slaves, 42,360 of their male and female slaves, 7,337 of the musicians and the singers, 245. These were 435 camels, 700,003 horses, 240 mules, and 525 asses. And some of the principal heads of the families, when they reached the temple of God in Jerusalem, vowed, and they would erect the house in its old place to the best of their abilities, and they would give to the sacred building fund 1,000 minas in gold and 5,000 minas in silver and 100 priest garments. So the priests and the Levites and some of the people settled in Jerusalem in the country, and the sacred singers and the doorkeepers and all of Israel settled in their villages. So let me go back right here. So it says, so the priests and the Levites and some of the people settled in Jerusalem and the country, and the sacred singers. So you see that? So that's what I was talking about when you come to Motown, right? They using what the Creator gave us. They using and made billions of dollars off of it with all these boy groups and men groups and women groups singers that they used in Motown. But they say anyway, when the seventh month came, the Israelites were all at home. They gathered as one man in the square in front of the gate toward the east. And Joshua, the son of Jodak, and his brothers, the priest, and Zerubbabel, the son of Sethel, and his brothers, the house of David and the house of Aaron, right, took their places and prepared the altar of God in Jerusalem in order to offer on it burnt offerings, as directed in the book of Moses and the man of God. And they were joined by some of the other people of the land, and they erected the altar in its place. For though they had been hostile to them, all the people in the land supported them and brought sacrifices at the proper time, and the morning and evening burnt offerings for the Lord. And they kept the camping out festival as it prescribed in the law. And they brought sacrifices every day. And when it was proper, and besides these, the regular offerings and the sacrifices on the Sabbath and the new moons and all the sacred festival days, and all who had made voluntary gifts to God began to offer sacrifices to God, beginning with the new moon in the seventh month, though the temple of God was not yet rebuilt. And they paid money to the masons and the carpenters, and gave food and drink and courts to the Sidonians and the Tyrians to bring cedar timber from Lebanon and convey them in rafts to the harbor of Joppa, as Cyrus and the king of Persia had commanded them in his writing. And in the second year of Zerubbabel, the son of Sethel, came to the temple of God in Jerusalem. In the second month, he began with Joshua, the son of Zodak, and their brothers, and the Levitical priests, and all who had come back from the exile to Jerusalem, and they laid the foundation of the temple of the Lord on the new moon of the second month, in the second year, after they came to Judah and Jerusalem. And they appointed the Levites, who were over the 20 years and older, to have charge of the work of the Lord. And Joshua rose up, and his sons and his brothers, and Kimmel, his brother, and the sons of Jeshua, Imabam, and his son Jodah, the son of Elidim, with their sons and their brothers, all the Levites, as one man, pressing forward to the work of the house of God. And the builders built the sanctuary of the Lord. The priests stood in their robes with the musical instruments and the trumpets, and the Levites, the sons of Asaph, with their cymbals, praising the Lord and blessing him according to the direction of David, king of Israel. And they sung loudly. So this right here is what I was telling you. And you're looking for the suffering servant. And I always go into Isaiah 52, the last three verses, 13, 14, 15. Same thing right here. Before, when the Lord of hosts come back, those priests got to stand up in their place, wherever they at. You're gonna know who they are, because of wherever he at, they're gonna be down at his feet. So right here it says, they've been in Babylon 70 years, right? They come back to build the temple. And he says, and the builders built the sanctuary of the Lord, and the priests, here they go, this suffering servant, and the priests stood in their robes with their musical instruments, the trumpets, and the Levites, the sons of Asaph, with their cymbals, praising the Lord and blessing him according to the directions of David, king of Israel. And they sung loudly, giving thanks to the Lord with hymns, because all Israel enjoyed his goodness and his glory forever. And all the people sounded trumpets and gave a great shout, praising the Lord for the erection of the house of the Lord. And some of the Levitical priests and the older men among the heads of the families who had seen the house that preceded this one with Solomon temple came to the building of this house with outcries and loud lamentations, while many came with trumpets and a great shout of joy, so that the people could not hear the trumpets on account of the lamentations, for the multitude sounded the trumpets loudly, so it was heard a long ways off. And when the enemies of the tribes of Judah and Benjamin heard it, they came to find out what sound of the trumpets meant. And they learned that those who had returned from captivity were building the sanctuary for the Lord, the God of Israel. And they went to Zerubbabel and Joshua and the heads of the families and said to them, we will help you build, for we, like you, obey your Lord and have sacrificed to him from the days of Esarhaddon, king of Assyria, who brought us here. So this was what we was talking about earlier. This Esau, see, way back here, Esau wanted to build a temple. See, it came right here. When they came back from Babylon, they say, we will help you. This Esau, for we, like you, obey the Lord, because he was raised by Abraham too, right? And have sacrificed to him from the days of Esarhaddon, king of Assyria, who brought us here. Then Zerubbabel and Joshua said, here you go. Zerubbabel and Joshua said, and the heads of the families of Israel said unto them, it is not for you, see that, and us to build the house of the Lord, our God, for we will build it by ourselves for the Lord of Israel, as Cyrus, the king of Persia, has commanded us. But the heathens of the land pressed upon those who were in Judah and blockading them, hindering them from building and making plots and stirring up the people, and uprising that prevented complication in the building of all a lifetime of Cyrus. So they were kept from building for 2 years until the reign of Darius. But in the second year of the reign of Darius, the prophet Haggai and Zechariah, sons of Edu, prophesied to the Jews who were in Judah and Jerusalem, prophesying to them in the name of the Lord, the God of Israel. Then Zerubbabel, the son of Sethel, and Jeshua, the son of Jehozadak, got up and began to build the house of the Lord that was in Jerusalem, while the prophets of the Lord joined them and helped them. And that very time there came to them Sinas, the governor of Syria and Phoenicia, and I can't say these names, Sassarus and their company, and they said to them, by whose orders are you willing to build this house and completing the roof and all those things? And who are the builders who are carrying this out? Still the elders of the Jews were shown favor, for the Lord had regard for the captives, and they were not prevented from building until Darius was informed about them and orders were issued. This is the copy of the letter that Sinas, the governor of Syria and Phoenicia, and Severin and their company wrote and sent to Darius. Greetings to the King Darius. Let it all be known to our Lord that the king, excuse me, our Lord the King, that when we went to the country of Judah and entered the city of Jerusalem, we found the elders of Jerusalem, Jews who had been in captivity, building in the city of Jerusalem a great and new house for the Lord, of costly huge stone, with timber set in walls. And we found his work proceeding with haste, and the undertaking prospering in their hands, and being completed with all glory and diligence. Then we inquired of these elders and said, at whose command are you building this house and laying the foundation of these works? And then, in order to inform you and to write to you, we inquired of them what men were leaders, and asked them for a list of the names of those who were taking lead. And they answered and said, we are servants of the Lord, who created the heavens and the earth. And the house was built many years ago by a king of Israel who was great and strong and was finished. And when our forefathers sinned against the heavenly Lord of Israel and provoked him, he delivered them into the hands of Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, king of the Chaldeans, and they tore the house down, burned it, and carried the people away captive to Babylon. But in the first year of the reign of Cyrus over Babylonia, Cyrus the king wrote an order that this house be rebuilt, and the sacred dishes of gold and silver that Nebuchadnezzar had carried away from the house of Jerusalem and set up in his own sanctuary, Cyrus the king brought forth again. We read this over there in Ezra, right? Sanctuary in Babylon, and they were given to Zerubbabel and Sheshbazzar, the governor, and he was instructed to carry all these dishes back, put them back in sanctuary in Jerusalem, and that this sanctuary of the Lord should be rebuilt on the same spot. Then this Sheshbazzar, after coming here, laid the foundation of the house of the Lord that is in Jerusalem, and although had been under construction from then until now, it has not reached completion. Now, therefore, if it meets your approval, O King, let a search be made in the royal archives of our Lord, the King in Babylon, and if it's found that the rebuilding of the house of the Lord in Jerusalem was done with the consent of Cyrus, king of Persia, and it meets the approval of our Lord, the King, let him give us orders about this. Then the King Darius ordered a search to be made in the royal archives that were deposited in Babylon and in the castle of Ecbanica in the land of Media was found a roll in which this was recorded. In the first year, here we go, I just read this. In the first year of the reign of Cyrus, king of Persia, ordered the rebuilding of the house of the Lord in Jerusalem, where they sacrificed with perpetual fire, and the height of it to be 90 feet, and the width 90 feet, with 3 courses of hewn stone and a course of new native timber, and the cost to be provided from the house of Cyrus king, and that the sacred dishes of the house of the Lord of gold and silver was Nebuchadnezzar carried away from the house of Jerusalem and removed to Babylon. He restored to the house of Jerusalem to be placed where they were, and he further ordered that Senus, the governor of Syria and Phoenicia, and Sabinus and their companions and their local governors appointed in Syria and Phoenicia should take care and let the place alone, and to permit Zerubbabel, the servant of the Lord and governor of Judah, and the elders of Jews to build the house of the Lord in its place. And I command that it be completely built, and that they seek earnestly to help the returned captives of Judah until the house of the Lord is finished, and that a grant from the tribute of Coalition and Phoenicia be particularly given these men for the sacrifices to the Lord. This is to Zerubbabel the governor, for bulls and for rams and lambs, and likewise wheat and salt and wine and oil regularly every year without objection, as the priest in Jerusalem indicated. They are daily used, so that the libations may be offered to the Most High God for the king and his children, and that they may pray for them and their lives. So, like I was saying, right here we can see that in Daniel when it says that the Messiah is going to be cut off. We see it right here. Zerubbabel was cut off, but the thing, like I was saying, was they tried to they had all kind of plots and tricks and devices to cut them off, but they end up falling in their own hole. Same way this is going to play out. They got all kind of tricks and schemes set up, but it's going to unfold just like the Creator said. Zerubbabel, Jeremiah told them they was coming back and rebuild the temple. After all that they've done, we just read they came back and they rebuilt the temple in its place, just like the Creator, the Lord hosts has said. So the same thing with this. You have to be in a place or a mindset getting ready to divide what they doing and what the Creator doing. Any comments, question? I was reading out of First Ezra. I read chapter 5 and as part of chapter 6. Okay, somebody want to pick a scripture and then we can break it down and then we can leave. We got about 2 minutes.
Shalom, everyone. Brother Leonard, I want to kind of bounce off of what you just read in Ezra and the Apocrypha, right? Which you had covered it before in the KJV in Ezra and Haggai and Zechariah, right? But I just want to read it out of the book of Ezra,
Okay.
chapter 3, verse 8. And this is in reference to the singing also. So,
Right.
Ezra chapter 3, I'm going to start with verse 8. Now in the second year of their coming unto the house of God at Jerusalem, in the second month began Zerubbabel, the son of Sethel, and Jeshua, the son of Jozadak, and the remnant of their brethren, the priests and the Levites, and all they that were come out of the captivity unto Jerusalem, and appointed the Levites from 20 years old and upward to set forward the work of the house of the Lord. 9. Then stood Jeshua with his sons and his brethren, Cadmiel and his sons and the sons of Judah together to set forward the workmen in the house of God, the son of Henadad with their sons and their brethren, the Levites. 10. And when the builders laid the foundation of the temple of the Lord, they set the priests in their apparel with trumpets, and the Levites, the sons of Asaph, with cymbals, to praise the Lord, after the ordinance of David, king of Israel. This is where I was going, verse 11 and 12. And they sang together by course in praising and giving thanks unto the Lord, because he is good, for his mercy endureth forever towards Israel. And all the people shouted with a great shout when they praised the Lord, because the foundation of the house of the Lord was laid. 12. But many of the priests and Levites and chief of the fathers, who were ancient men, that had seen the first house, when the foundation of this house was laid before their eyes, wept with a loud voice, and many shouted aloud for joy. Last verse 13. So that the people could not discern the noise of the shout of joy from the noise of the weeping of the people, for the people shouted with a loud shout, and the noise was heard afar off. That was Ezra chapter 3, verses 8 through 13, sir.
Right. So like I was saying, those are things that we read over that's significant. So he just said the ancient men that saw the first house, right?
Yes, sir. Verse 12.
So they saw the first house. So they was in Jerusalem before Nebuchadnezzar came, right?
Okay, yes, sir.
So they stayed in Babylon 70 years, right?
They did, yes, sir.
And then they came back. Like I was saying, they don't want you to know that a lot of those men came back. And then, so he said they saw the first house. So how old you think they is? He said they're ancient.
Yes.
See that? Oh, yeah. So that's how they ancient. They saw the first house, and so they was already men then when they saw the first house, and then they did 70 years in Babylon, and then they came back and saw the second house that Zerubbabel built. So they ancient, right?
Right, yes, sir.
Okay, yeah. And even the story of Daniel. Daniel was a little boy when he went to Babylon, but he came back. That's what people don't understand. So yeah, they're not telling you all that. We saw that Mordecai was taken in the first captivity, and then we saw just now when the people that was listed in them returning, Mordecai was with Joshua and Zerubbabel when they came back. But they don't want you to know all that. So with that being said, nobody else have anything, comments or anything before we go? Okay.
No, sir.
Shalom, and another shalom. I see everybody tomorrow. Women can come in through YouTube on our men's line, and or either I see you on Saturday for our Shabbat. Shalom.
Shalom, everyone.
Shalom, everyone.
Shalom, everyone.
I highly recommend that you get this book and you read it, because it's a must that you understand who God head is in the order that's in the Old Testament and Tanakh, because it's not the same as in the New Testament. And when you read this and you get an understanding, then the scriptures open up, and then you begin to understand. So I highly recommend that you get this book. It's the Elohim of Israel, and it's a breakdown on the word Elohim and who the God of Israel is, and the Godhead.